In this session, we're going to take a look at restrictions. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into the settings application. And I want to make sure that I'm in the general tab, and you'll see restrictions over here on the middle section. And it's currently turned off on this iPad. Before I go into restrictions, I want to make something very clear. Please do not turn on restrictions without contacting the school first. You can contact me, Brian Bartelli, at the school. My contact information can be found on the website. So please do not turn them on. And the reason for that is when you go into restrictions and you turn them on, it's going to require you to set a passcode. And the problem with this is if you set a passcode and then forget it, the only way to reset that passcode is to wipe everything off of the iPad and start over again, which means all of the data saved on the iPad will be lost. And that would be a huge loss for the student. So forgetting the password would be a problem. The other issue is if you set a restriction on here and something happens to the student iPad and I have to restore it, I would have to know that passcode in order to help that student restore something. The last issue is if you turn off the wrong things in restrictions, it will limit the student from what they're able to do at school, which could cause a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and set a restriction on here just so we can see what it looks like. In case you feel like you need a restriction set on here, contact me. I can help set up that restriction so I know the passcode and you know the passcode and we can work together on this. So here are the things that you can restrict, which most of them we don't want to restrict, but we could if there was an issue. So we can turn on and off the web browser, the camera. Those two things are used all the time in school, so we probably typically wouldn't turn those off. FaceTime is not always necessary for school, so if you're having a problem at home with FaceTime, we can obviously turn that off. iTunes we can't turn off because that affects the App Store and how we download things. True with the bookstore as well. Students need to be able to go in there and get books for class. Installing apps absolutely has to be open so the students can put the apps on their device. Now deleting apps might be something you want turned on versus turning off the installation of apps. So what you can do is say you're having a problem with gaming at home and you've told your child no games on the iPad. Well, they're very savvy and they know that they can delete the game before they get home and re-put that exact same game on their iPad while they're at school, and you would never know that it was ever on there. So what you do instead of stopping the installing of apps is you turn off the ability to delete an app. So if a student puts an application on there, it's impossible for them to delete it without going in and turning this back on. And so you can see if they go in and start putting games on there because they won't be able to get rid of them at that point. So that is actually a pretty good use of monitoring applications that are put onto a device. So that one, if you need that set up, again, please contact me first and we can help you with that. Siri has lots of good use. Explicit language obviously could be turned off very easily. That's explicit language with Siri there. All right, down below here are some content restrictions, and we already have some set on the device for the students. We can push these profiles to the student iPad. So you notice that we restrict the type of TV shows and movies. If you feel that those restrictions are not tight enough and you want them to have maybe only G-rated movies that they can download, then again, just contact us and we can tighten up those restrictions for you if you feel that it's necessary. So that, in short, is basically the restrictions that are allowed. And I'll just say it one more time because it's very important. Please do not turn this on before contacting the school so we can work together on getting what is appropriate on the iPad in terms of restrictions and getting a password set that both of us know so we can help the student in the long run.